We're also going to talk to your elected officials. This morning, I'm glad to have the mayor of Highland Park, Hubert Yap. He's going to be my first guest on this show. But I want to make sure that you also know that your questions can also be heard here. So make sure to tune in and watch and tell your friends about the show, because we want this show to be about you. It's not going to be just talking heads. We're also going to highlight those in the community that have been active in the community, as well, from seniors to those around the middle age, such as myself, and even the young people who take an active role in their community, as well as excelling in their academics. There are a lot of things that we can highlight in this city, and I'm glad to be a part of this. March 1st is the beginning of Women's History Month. We just ended Black History Month, but that doesn't mean we end Black history. We have to make sure that everyone knows Black history starts on January 1st and ends on December 31st. And if you didn't get that, that means that's 365 days a year. So we want to make sure we're highlighting those who have paved the way for those of us who are coming behind. Because at the end of the day, we're standing on someone's shoulders. We're standing on the shoulders of ancestors. We're standing on the shoulders of those who made sacrifices for us to be here. And some of those people are still in Highland Park. We have some shows coming up that will highlight those that have been here for decades, made Highland Park their home, and made their neighbors become a neighborhood, if you will. So we have a lot to discuss. We want to make sure we get to that. We're going to take a quick break right now, and coming up after the break, I'll be joined by none other than Hubert Yap, Highland Park's mayor.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. Your health and safety is very important to us. You can also email our office at textinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Welcome back to Highland Park Highlights. My name is Rod Liggins, and I'm glad to be joined this morning on the inaugural show of Highland Park Highlights with Highland Park's Mayor, Hubert Yap. Mr. Mayor, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
What I first want to do is, I'm going to give you a few minutes to tell your story to those in Highland Park.
I am an original Highland Parker. As stated, my name is Hubert Yap. After high school, I went into the United States Army, and I served 7.5 years active duty, served in a combat zone. And after 7.5 years, I received an honorable discharge and came back to my home, Highland Park, where I served 31.5 years as a police officer. From a police officer to a police supervisor to a police manager. And afterwards, I became a city councilman, where I served 4 years. And then I was elected mayor in '08, and I served 4 years. And I lost a race after that. And I came back, and I've been the mayor 3 terms in the city of Highland Park. And Highland Park is my home, and this is where I'll be. We are making great progress. As you know, at one time, Highland Park was the #1 city in the nation. Highland Park school system, athletes, we turned out a lot of folks, lawyers, but a great city. And we're on our way back, and thanks to you, the residents, we are making great progress. We're bringing in new businesses, but I'll hold that for later in the.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. So what it sounds like is you've had an entire life of service with specifically to the city of Highland Park. Let me ask you first, what made you decide to become a police officer here?
Well, after serving 7.5 years in the Army, I also served in the capacity of a military police officer. And I also liked interacting with the children, the young folk. Back when I was a police officer, we had PAL, and we had a number of other programs that we interacted with the children, the young folk. And I like dealing with the seniors, and this is my home, and this is where I wanted to serve. As a matter of fact, since you mentioned that, I've been a public servant all my adult life.
Yeah, that's when I heard the story. That's when I was starting to add up the years, and I'm thinking it's not much left but your teen years. But the thing I want to know is, so how did you make the transformation to going from a servant behind the badge to seeking the highest office in the city?
Well, initially, I'm a state realtor, and I started to sell real estate for Century 21. And I just didn't like that line of work. And after being a military policeman in the Army, I thought about what I could do for my city, and joined the police department, where there was a number of programs in police service, community-oriented policing, working with the community, working with the children. And I liked what I was doing. And after the police service, to continue to interact and work with the city, I became a city councilman, and from there up the government ladder.
So tell me then, what's it like? I mean, you said you were elected to a term, and then you lost and you came back. What are some of the things that are most gratifying about leading the city of Highland Park?
Well, it's providing those needed areas for our seniors, for our families, and recruiting people, selling the city, bringing people back, being a part of and a witness of the top city in the country. I know what it should be, and I wanted to bring it back, but even better. And we're making great progress.
Now, when it comes to drawing businesses here, what are some of the things that you can say to those who may be looking to build a plant or start a small mom and pop shop? What are the things that you can tell them about Highland Park they may not be aware of that would make them consider making their home here?
Well, number one, Highland Park has the best location in the state. We got all the main veins right here. We got Davidson, 75, Woodward Avenue. We are located in a great place. I know that when we participate in the sporting events downtown, we go downtown, we pay $40 a park. But right here where we're located, we get on public transport, you go to the sporting events, and you get off right there at the front door because of our location. Save a lot of money. But as we have land, we have property that we have sold and are developing. As a matter of fact, I'll name a few businesses that recently came into the city. One is Faurecia, that's an auto parts company, and they're bringing in 850 jobs.
Wow. Wow.
And they're great paying jobs. We have Magna. They've expanded, and they're bringing in more jobs. We have Mobis. That's a new company. They're bringing in more jobs. We have a $40 million project north of Davison, west of Hamilton. It's called the Means Project. They're bringing in jobs, about 400 or 500 jobs. So what we're doing is we're not only bringing in great jobs, as people come in to work, they want to live close to the job. So that's housing development. We have a new project just north of City Hall, between City Hall and the library. I met with the group Friday, and they're going to build condos, and we have a great start in returning our city to excellence. The only project that I don't have any authority in, but I'm assisting in every way I can, that's our school system. We must get our school system back, our high school. I know I went to the George Washington Carver graduation this past year. We had a young man that since entering school, he's been a straight A student, but yet we're losing him because he's looking for a high school to go to. We don't have a high school here. And we're working on it. Our school system, I got to give them credit. They're working. They're trying to get the funding to build a new high school. In my opinion, the best location for the high school was the old high school on Glendale. If you look at the architecture, it's beautiful. I think the school system took a survey, and the money they would have to spend to rehab that building is just too much. They want to build a new high school. But I do know that being a police officer in the city of Highland Park, the high school that we built on Woodward Avenue years ago was the wrong place. When high schools are letting the kids out, they're out in the middle of Woodward Avenue. It's a dangerous location. So the location on Glendale, we should have stayed with that. But, you know, you learn as you go. But Highland Park is a place, if you want to have a family-friendly city, Highland Park is the location. We're progressing. You can move into our city. There's houses that are being built. There's property if you want to build your own. And come into our city and grow with us. So you're welcome here. Just come in to see our community and economic development specialist. We will gladly accommodate you in any way we can.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mayor, we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we want to talk about some of the things that are happening right now. Like we just had a 2-day COVID-19 vaccine program. We want to talk about that and things of that sort that are impacting the residents of Highland Park. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more Highland Park highlights.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. Your health and safety is very important to us. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Welcome back to Highland Park Highlights. It's just about 8:20 on Monday morning, March 1st. My name is Rod Liggins, and again, I'm glad to be joined today with Highland Park's Mayor Hubert Yap. Mr. Mayor, we are currently in a pandemic that really began late 2019 as we're going to 2021. This past week, the senior citizens of Highland Park were able to receive for the first time the COVID-19 vaccine. How did that come about?
Well, we had a number of entities and folk involved. Our people, we had Miss Akins, we had Miss Alexis Ramsey, and we had Miss Robinson. We had a ton of Highland Parkers that were involved in putting this together. Mm-hmm. And we're thankful to the Wayne County Health Department, Warren Evans and his staff. As a matter of fact, the week prior to the event, myself and my city attorney and Human Resources Director, Ms. Akins, we were on the phone with Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, mm-hmm. and we told him that it appeared that Highland Park has been overlooked. And the number of seniors that we have, CVS was designated as one of the entities that would administer the shots. But CVS moved out. Of course, we talked to corporate and a number of others. But we continued coordinating with Wayne County Health Department and Warren Evans' shop. And we finally got the vaccines for the members of Highland Park. We established a place to administer these shots at the Highland Park Rec Department, which the coordinators did a great job in setting it up. I think we've vaccinated about in excess of 700 folks. And prior to that, we didn't know where we were going to get the shots from for our seniors. But thank God, our people working with other entities, we set up a great program at the rec center, and we got the vaccinations for our seniors and other Highland Parkers. And some folk from Hamtramck participated getting the shots. So it was a great program, and I want to thank everyone that had a hand in that. I know I missed some folks by name, but all of you that took part in it, I'm grateful.
Well, I can just speak. When I did come out on the day one of the two-day event, it was just so much participation. And I've been hearing about some folks are hesitant to come out and take the vaccine, but I think people are starting to learn more about it and realize that it is something new, but it's something necessary for us to flatten the curve and get back to what I call the new normal. We may never get back to what we were before, but this has become what we call a necessary entity in order to move us forward so that we can get back to being with our loved ones and meeting with them. I was also impressed with the seniors, and I think a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of times they're alone in their homes. They may get a few phone calls, but it was that conversation. When they were sitting 6 feet apart and wearing masks, I was just impressed with how they reenacted with each other and they became friends again. It wasn't that they hadn't been friends, but they hadn't really seen each other. You know, you can't just go to church like you used to. You can't just run out to the supermarket and you don't even know who you're with because of the masks and the things of that sort. So I was really impressed to see the camaraderie amongst each other and the helpfulness with each other. Some came in on walkers, some were in wheelchairs, some with canes. And there were folks, like you said, Highland Park really stood up and stood out. They volunteered, the residents, the city employees, the first responders were there, and they were just really engaging with those who came out. So that was a great event. They do have to come back again for their second dose. But do we see this coming up again as far as getting more folks vaccinated in the near future?
I'm sure we will. As a matter of fact, I've talked to a number of seniors and other citizens. A lot of them are waiting for the mass to get the shots and monitor the effects thereof. Well, I say this. In order to defeat COVID, we must get the shot, all of us. Because if I have the shot and you don't, we'll never defeat it like that. We must get the shot. So I think you'll find a lot more is going to come forward because of the senior homes, Downs Manor, LaBelle Towers, and a number of other senior buildings. A lot of those folks got the shots. That'll entice others over the months. And we're going to be ready to administer as many shots as we can get. So we're going to continue to make our community COVID ready.
Okay.
And we're going to beat this thing.
All right. Now, earlier in the first segment, you spoke about the economic development coming to the city of Highland Park. And as you know, the voters, they approved of making recreational marijuana legal. And a number of cities have opted out. A number of cities have also opted in. I first want to get your take on that. And whatever that is, I want to give you time to explain why you are either for it or against it.
Well, let me say this. As I stated earlier, I was a police officer here in the early 70s. In the early 70s, that's when Highland Park started to go down, people moving out. And the initial negative element in that move was cannabis, marijuana. I remember 2 police officers, when I was active, went to our captain and told him that there was his family selling marijuana out the back door. The captain's statement was, as long as they're not outside, leave them alone. Mistake number 1. And so we left the situation alone, and it spread like wildfire. And as the sales of marijuana soon became heroin and pills and other drugs, people started to move out because they didn't want their kids to grow up around that stuff, the cannabis. Well, right now I see where we are trying to make our community family friendly and provide jobs for everyone. I think cannabis is going to be that element again that will prevent Highland Park from growing to the point that it should be. And I'm not a part of that cannabis program. I understand that there's some folks talking about suing the city. I want those folks to know that I'm not a part of that. If you look at Mr. Duggan, Mayor Duggan, his cannabis program came to his shop. He got with the Community Economic Development, which is a new development, and he got his staff together, police, inspections, fire, and they discussed that program. And then Mr. Duggan passed it to the city council. They voted up or they voted down. Well, they voted it up. And that's the way it should be here in Highland Park. However, our program hasn't come to me, through me. I have nothing to do with it. And I guess I'm kind of speaking to all of you that wants to sue the city. Don't sue me. I got nothing to do with it. However, I'm gonna say that if I can, I want to entice the people that the 2 main elements here is to get out of high school and then have jobs for those graduating from high school. And that's what we're doing now. The cannabis is not going to assist our city in any way. It's going to tear our city down. The only people I see profiting from cannabis are those that are getting the license. They're going to hire family, and they're not going to hire, it's not a factory where you go in with benefits and have a great job. That's family. And of course, our police department's got to be ready to handle that. You know, people, I guess, they don't have that forward thinking. If you have a cannabis operation in your city, you're going to have problems. Either robbery, homicides, because if you come in to rob the place, they got heavy security, there's a homicide. Who's going to have to investigate the homicide? The Highland Park Police Department. I do not have that complement of personnel at this point. And unless someone gives our city more money, funding, to get this done, it's going to be a real problem. Fire department, if there's a fire, You got to investigate the fire. You got to put out the fire. And what I want to do now, and I'm having it done with the fire marshal, any building that's setting up, preparing for that cannabis, I want you to inspect that building for explosives, for anything that will impede our firemen when they arrive at the scene. So there's a lot of planning that has to go into that. I've seen none of that. And I control the fire department, I control the police department, I control inspections, and all of those entities, it's community economic development, that should be involved. The council is going through the back door. It's not going to work that way. You don't know what complement of personnel we have in each area, so we have to get together. If that's to take place, they must come and we sit down and we look at the manpower, look at the resources needed. So at this point, I'm not for it, and I don't have the complement of personnel to handle that at this point.
Okay, so let me come at you from a different perspective. What if, well, what do you say to those that will say this will generate income for the city? Because as we know, other cities, they charge a tax, this has a tax, and that's a revenue generating business. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I say you look at the revenue generated versus what you're sacrificing. And if you look at the areas I mentioned earlier about the various companies, we have sufficient jobs for every youngster graduating from high school to be employed. Now, at this point, if you have cannabis in our city, and of course, I saw some literature that stated our council wanted like 40-something license. Detroit got 32 for over 600,000 people. We have less than 10,000 here, in the area of 10,000. If you have that many licenses, it's going to be a cannabis city. Nobody's going to move in here with their children and their families. Nobody wants to be around that. Bloomfield, a couple of weeks ago, they had a meeting. And all those people with those $1 million homes, they threatened to move out if they didn't do something about the cannabis. I guess the smell and the aroma, you know, it's just awful. And then the children. I saw an article a few weeks ago in one community, children 12 to 17, there was an increase, a great increase in usage. And so I don't see anything. Money is one thing, but we got the money coming in through our businesses. Sure, there's taxes and there's money to be made, but the real money go to the owner of the cannabis shop. The city gets a piece, but that piece is not worth the sacrifice that we're giving up, because you figure this way. If, in fact, the cannabis is, as this council is planning, 40-something license, what does that say for your children and your families that want to enter the workforce? I own a factory, and I got high-lows and all the heavy equipment. I'm not going to hire you if you got that stuff in your system, because you have a heavy load on that high-low, and you dump that load on one of the employees, and I lose my business. So I got to be very careful in who I hire. There's so many factors here that tell me that I would rather not have it in my city. I'd rather have a family-friendly community. If you want it, go to Detroit, go to Hamtramck, go all around you. But make this the place where families flock to, because they know that their children can grow up in the environment, a desired environment, and the schools and so forth as jobs. I have a vision of a family-friendly. That's my vision.
Okay. Once again, we're going to take another break.
Okay.
We hope you come back and join us with Highland Park Highlights, where we begin to talk about other economic development and other issues related to the citizens and living in Highland Park. We'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at tv33whpr.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, encouraging all taxpayers to please take advantage of the several payment options available.
You can pay online by visiting the Wayne County Treasurer's Office website. Paying online is easy and convenient.
You can also download the mobile app and pay with your smartphone.
You can pay at one of 70 kiosks located throughout Wayne County.
And yes, you can always still send in your payments using the U.S. Postal Service.
If you have to visit our office in person, you must make an appointment by going to treasurer.waynecounty.com. It only takes a few minutes. Facial covering or mask is required and social distancing is observed. Your health and safety is very important to us. You can also email our office at taxinfo@waynecounty.com or call us at 313-224-5990.
Morning and welcome back to Highland Park Highlights. My name is Rod Liggins. It's 8:37 on the first day of March in 2021, and we're going to continue our conversation with Mayor Hubert Yap of Highland Park. Mr. Mayor, I know the major part of your job is to make sure the city, its residents, its businesses, its schools are safe and secure. What are some of the things that you would like to see more of by way of policing the city of Highland Park?
I'd like to be able, by way of budget, to bring in more police officers. Of course, recruiting at this point is a problem for our area. Young folk are not coming into the police field now as they did back when I was a police officer. I guess because all the negativity we've seen over the years, George Floyd and etc., has been a lot of bad images of the police as brutal, and people are just not coming into that business anymore. But I'd like to see a stabilization of personnel in the various cities, meaning that I make $30,000 in Highland Park. I can go to Bloomfield, they'll pay me $45,000 starting. The benefits are better. And I think a way to deal with this is if you get the federal government to fund all agencies, and if the pay is the same, most of the reasons for leaving the community would not exist. I think the benefits and the pay should be equal across the board for police officers. They have the same job, same risk, robberies in the cities and homicides and so forth. We need to have the federal government take a greater role in funding our police departments and our fire departments. We have some major fires, and if your budget can't accommodate, you have to have a deal with, say, Hamtramck, Mutual Aid, or Detroit. If you have that mutual aid, well, you got some assistance there, but you need your own police and fire. You need that immediate response. And when you go through the mutual aid system, it takes time. It even takes inventory of their personnel on duty that day. So if you get the federal funding, I think our police agencies and fire departments will be greater across the country.
Okay. So you spoke about the George Floyd. I know we've heard the stories of Breonna Taylor and even back as far as Eric Garner and Michael Brown. Can those situations of excessive force be used to encourage folks to come in and make sure those things don't occur, because you don't hear about those things in Highland Park. We haven't had reports of police officers, just randomly grabbing someone and physically abusing them for merely walking down the street or whatever the case may be. So maybe there are some other strategies that could be possibly used to recruit and encourage folks to become a police officer in order to make a difference, and a positive difference, in their communities.
Well, I think the best program I've seen is community-oriented policing. I recently had a police chief, his name was Chester Logan from Detroit. Mm-hmm. He worked with me for 4 years, and when I came in 2016, there were a number of lawsuits for brutality and so forth. Chester worked with the police officers, and so did I, at their roll calls. There are sessions where that's discussed, the George Floyds and the excessive force. Mm-hmm. We talk about that. We have rules and regulations and policy addressing that. And we work hard in Highland Park to bring our community and police officers together. I have a deputy chief, a female deputy chief, and every Christmas she's in the community taking the children to Myers and other places shopping. But we have programs, police and community programs. We have barbecues. We have activities at the rec center where the police and community, the children are involved. We teach the children that this is not your enemy, that's the friend, mm-hmm. And we also speak to the community, the adults, the families, about the children and the police department. They should partake in the events that the police sponsor. I think Highland Park has done a great job. Even back during my time, I played basketball with the local young folk. We barbecued. As a matter of fact, I have a state resolution. We were at Liberty School playing ball one day, and there was a shootout right at the school. There was 3 police officers. We were playing ball with the families, because after we play ball, we eat barbecue and all that. So we saved some lives. My partner got shot at that location, but thank God we were active with the community. We were there. We don't know what may have happened had we not been there, but we received the state resolution for our involvement. And I think that's the kind of involvement we need today. Community-oriented policing, community and the police working together. The families got to feel safe to talk to the police about those violations, about planning, interacting with the community. That's the best thing you can do. As a matter of fact, with the current police officers, I leave this with the current police officers when I'm in training with them. I tell them that you ride down the street between radio runs and you see Mr. Brown cutting his grass. Stop, get out the scout car, walk over to him and ask him his opinion about whatever, about the community. How does he feel? What would he like to see? And just talk to him, introduce yourself. When you get back in that scout car, you drive away slowly and look at your rearview mirror. He's not going to start cutting that grass again until you're out of sight, because that just doesn't happen. The police don't stop and talk to us. You must introduce yourself. And then if you have a situation in the community, here's the community standing behind you because they know you. But you got to take care of your business in a fair and equal way. It's like even moving traffic violations. You know this man. He lives in the community, you work here, and you know he didn't intentionally run that stop sign. And so instead of giving him a ticket, you verbalize to him about caution. There's a spirit of the law and there's a letter of the law. Well, in certain situations, the letter doesn't work to our advantage. So there are a number of things that we do with the community to make sure they understand our intent and purpose out here is to protect the community. And that interacting helps. It really helps. And as you stated, Highland Park it's not.
I did notice, and this wasn't in this city, but I was just at a store shopping, and I saw this little girl just skipping around, and she looked up, and there was a police officer in uniform, and she was a few feet ahead of her. She not only ran to her mother, she ran behind her mother. And the officer, God bless him, he made a point. He noticed it. he said, wait a minute, come here. And she wouldn't come out, and the mother pulled her around and said, I'm not your enemy. I know there's some people that you see in a uniform like this, wearing this and having this, but I'm here to make sure you're safe and your mommy is safe, and da-da-da. And they gave each other either a fist bump or high five or something. This is a generation being raised, and because you have access to the internet, you have access to your cell phones and videos and YouTube and things of this sort, that they're constantly bombarded by police who are in straight abusive mode. And I'm not trying to make excuses for either or, but this is what they see. So yeah, I definitely believe that community engagement is paramount to making sure that if you're in trouble, you need to be running towards the police. Absolutely. I know some folks, they won't even call the police to do a welfare check, because we've seen in those instances, someone may be having an episode, be it mental or physical, and they think they're being aggressive, and they're either tased, handcuffed, or even worse. So I do think that community engagement can go a long way, and the fact that that's being encouraged is a big deal. What are some other things that you would like to see? I mean, you, as a mayor, you have to have a vision for the city, and you have to have things that you would like to see. It's not that you have the means to make all of this happen, sort of like just folding your arms and blinking like a genie, but what are some of the things that you would like to see happen in this city of Highland Park?
Well, staying on the police situation, I'd like to see a cadet program re-implemented in the city of Highland Park, where young people can come in, sit at the desk, and perhaps, handle verbalize on situations. And that's impressive to the community, to see these young people, 15, 16 years old, working in the police station. It brings about that camaraderie needed. And so I like to see those kind of programs. I'd like to see our churches get more involved in bringing the police and the community together. There are a number of things that we can do in making our community safe. And when you have a safe community, you'll find a very vibrant and friendly community, because people will come, they will partake. I'd like to see the jobs, as I stated. I'd like to see the school, and most of all, I got to say this: I want our high school back. I mean, we lose so much talent. I look at the days when I was growing in the police department. You had the Reggie McKenzie's, professional football players that were here, Bobby Joe Hill. You had the Trapp brothers, pro basketball. Terry Durod recently, he passed away recently, but pro ball player, and attorneys and doctors. We had such a great high school, and so many young folks that turned out to be really, really community folk that you want. So, I mean, it's like that high school is so important to us in our community growth. I'd like to see our community establish more programs that bring people together. Of course, we got to take into account COVID-19 has impeded. It has really impeded. So when we deal with that, and I know we're going to deal with it, and we're going to come back even more vibrant than we were, because it's going to need hard work. We're going to have to work together and put those negative thoughts aside. I can say this: Highland Park, as far as racism and all that ugliness, you don't hear about that here. We've dealt with that already. As a matter of fact, when I was a young police officer, it existed in Highland Park, and we dealt with it. We had a mayor to come into the city. He came in before I became a police officer, Robert Blackwell. He dealt with that, and he just didn't tolerate racism, and I'm so happy. And that's why Highland Park right now, you don't hear about a lot of internal problems. We're going to keep it that way. So with the community's help, we're going to make it.
Okay. And one of the things I want to touch on before we run out of time is opportunities, business opportunities. You spoke about the economic development, but those are great, bringing in $40-50 million investment, 800 to 1,000 jobs per development.
Right.
What do you say to those who may be looking to start a mom and pop shop, maybe an ice cream parlor or a shoe repair or a diner or things of that sort? Is Highland Park open to that?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, we have a CED director, Ms. Tiffany Tilley, CED, Community Economic Development, that promote our city. And we're about to have an auction for houses in the city of Highland Park. But if you come into Highland Park and survey the city and find out that this is where I'd like to open my business, you come up to Community Economic Development, tell them where it is. We will research it, find out if it's city-owned, privately owned, land bank, county or state. We'll do the total research for you. And if it's available, if I control it and I control property and I manage property in the city of Highland Park, you will get your start here without problem. You come in, you present your business to Ms. Tilley. She'll survey. She'll do what she needs to do, vet the building and the business. But yes, we welcome anyone that wants to start a business. Come into the city of Highland Park and we'll assist.
Okay, and I know we're running short on time, but let me ask this. What would you say to someone that is looking to relocate to live? What would you say to convince them to make Highland Park their home?
Well, I'll revert back to what I said earlier. Highland Park is the best location in the state. Highland Park has a fine community. Our crime rate is down. We have great services here, and that's what everyone needs is good police and fire service. We have a great community here, good people. It's a great place to be. Great place to be.
Now, I've had a chance to growing up in this community from Detroit, but coming here as a child and doing our shopping and even dining and things of that sort in Highland Park, you start to see a change, but a lot of times it's a change for the better, meaning that you're starting to see some little shops now in some place that you may not have frequented or have gone to. You spoke about the leaving of CVS, but you start to realize there are a number of what I would call a mom and pop pharmacies that can be a very great benefit to the citizens here. The thing that struck me about overall are just these beautiful houses. Now the people have to make them their homes, but there are some phenomenal properties in this city. Some are available, some have been occupied by the same family for decades.
No doubt.
So it seems that when people come here, they stay here.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree. And as a matter of fact, you can take some of the homes that we have here, put a few dollars into it, and that home is as great as one out in Pontiac, Bloomfield, you name it. We have great property here, and again, I got to publish and emphasize the location. It's a great location. Wherever you want to go, you got all the main veins, and you're not really downtown in that hustle and bustle. You're just about a mile out, and it's great. I think that people need to take a second look, and I know every day we have about 200,000 transit people, bumper to bumper, going south in the morning, bumper to bumper going north in the evening. I think that in doing that, you need to get a good look at Highland Park. Highland Park is a great place, and this pandemic has slowed us down, but we're on the move, and we'd love for you to be a part of it.
And those are the things we want to encourage more of for the folks that are here, as well as those who may consider moving here. The focus is about community. You start to see that once you come in and get to know. What are some of the things that you would say are on you spoke about, getting another high school here in Highland Park. What are some other things that you would like to see done for the betterment of the city?
Well, during the pandemic, it's going to be a little difficult, but as you stated earlier, sit-down restaurants. I'd love to see the community, as I view it, with sit-down restaurants, a movie theater, a bowling alley, a real downtown. And I know we can do that. It's just that at this time, we got this blocker called COVID. And so we're working toward it. We're getting the jobs in here. We're getting all the things that we need. We are auctioning property. We're building that tax base up so we can provide more for the people that are here and those that want to move in. So come to Highland Park. It's the place to be.
And one more thing, as we talk about in your position as the executive branch of the city, you also have a legislative branch. And you talked about there is some disagreement regarding the cannabis industry making a place or making a home here. Are there things that you and the city council have worked on or are working on that you agree on how they are and how they should be distributed and things of that sort?
Yes, as a matter of fact, for years we had an agreement that when a new business came to the city, a proposal, I'd have 2 city council persons to sit in on it. I can't have 3 because I can't bring a quorum in. Mm-hmm. But 2 city council people. I always felt that if you're on the board, in the program, in the initial start, mm-hmm. you'll get a good understanding how it's going to benefit the city. So when you go back and talk to your compadres on city council, you can explain what we're planning on bringing in. It's better than me trying to explain it. If the council will work with us and send 2 members to sit on the board per se, or sit at the table mm-hmm. when we're vetting these businesses, I think it'll work even better.
So do you think, has that been a hindrance? Has it been a roadblock? Has mm-hmm. it been a sense of cooperation? How would you describe it?
Well, I think at this point, a sense of a lack of cooperation, because my direction in bringing all these businesses in doesn't really help the cannabis movement, mm-hmm. because we're looking for that budget that will allow us to grow. And I say the businesses is better because you're going to have your children working not only for a paycheck, but benefits. And of course, it's a field. Cannabis at this point is a legal field, recreational in the state. It's still against the federal law. Mm-hmm. The federal law say cannabis is just not, it's not going to be authorized. But I say that if we continue to bring our children along, teach them to work, go to school, get a job, that's the direction I want for our families in the city of Highland Park. As a matter of fact, you find that lately the federal government is raiding a lot of places because they're growing the cannabis and they don't have a license. They didn't go through. And so right now, I'm waiting on the city council to sit down with me. As I stated earlier, I had no voice in this cannabis movement, none. And as the mayor of the city and in control of all of the entity, the departments that would be needed, I should have been involved in the planning, and I haven't heard a word. I have not been invited. I hear what they're doing, but they're going through the back door.
Okay.
Duggan did it right in Detroit.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. It's been great having you on my inaugural show of Highland Park Highlights, and I hope that you will also continue to join us. We're going to be on every Monday morning between the hours of 8 and 9 talking about the issues or concerns that you have. You can contact the station, or you can reach out to myself at rliggins@highlandparkmi.gov. That's RLIGGONS at highlandparkmi.gov, where our focus is about you, and we want to do the highlight. We want to do the spotlight on those who are doing great things in this city, and that means not just the elected officials, although we're very pleased to have the mayor here, but the focus is about you yourself. What would you like to see in this city? Is there something that you would like to create? Is there something that you would like to be a part of? Is there something in your community as far as creating maybe block clubs or becoming more active and a neighborhood watch? These are the kind of things we want to discuss because these are your issues. So be sure to join us next week on Monday morning for our second show of Highland Park Highlights. Again, my name is Rod Liggins, and I want to thank you for joining us, and please have a great week.